Boy, where you watch? Look where you watch. Know where you watch. Choose the right thing to watch. And this enough to watch. Sticky Stucky Sweet TV with Keith Gargan, Facebook and YouTube. And that enough to watch. The movie star fly take off from Pelpa Time TV. So that boom.
A big sound, a big tune.
Ja Oli Emmanuel I boy. Ja Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. Well, Gideon go busting out them head again. So much oppression poor people face right now. Them crying out for freedom. Them crying out for free speech. Then said them want to stand up like them black liberators, like Malcolm X and Martin Luther. And the ancient monarchy will come pave the way, sir. Free up black people from me tear down them fence, yeah. Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. Well, the Gideon go busting out them head. I listen, I the power of the Trinity. Give us the teaching of His Majesty, and we know war. Not every.
Blow, Mr. Gargan, blow. Blow till me dance up me toe.
This is Sticky Stucky Sweet TV with Keith Gargan. Good, healthy food with the X Factor. So give it a like, share, subscribe, and touch up that notification bell. And that is it. Look at that.
Deliver me from my enemy, my God. Set me an eye from those who rise up against me. Deliver me from the workers of iniquity. Save me from the bloodthirsty men. For behold, they lie and wait for my soul. The mighty gather themselves together against me, not for my disobedience, not for my sin, Lord. I have done no wrong, yet they are ready to attack me. Rise up, behold, and help me. You, Lord God of armor, the God of Israel, rouse yourself to punish the nation. Show no mercy to the wicked, traitor, sealer. They return at evening, holding like dogs, and prowl around the city. Behold, they spot with their mouth, so they are in their lips, for they say, Who art us? But you, Lord, laugh at them, you scruff of all the nation. O my strength, I wish for you, for God is my high tower. My God will go before me with his loving kindness. God will let me look at my enemy in triumph. Don't kill them, or my people may forget. Scatter them by their power, and bring them down, Lord, our shield. For the sin of their mouth and the words of their lips, let them be catched in their pride. For the curses and lie which they utter. Consume them in wrath, consume them, and they will be no more. Let them know that God rules in Jacob to the ends of the earth. Selah. At evening let them return, let them howl like a dog, and go around the city. They shall wander up and down for food, and wait all night, if they ain't satisfied. But I will sing of your strength, yes, I will sing aloud of your loving kindness in the morning, for you have been my high tower, a refuge in the day of my distress. To you, my strength, I will sing praises, for God is my high tower, the God of my mercy, Selah.
Oh. Somebody ball out one. Somebody say take them out. Lift them and say mighty God. Reverse them. Move them. Pull them out. Spray them out. Every cockroach. Every rat. Every criminal. Reverse them. Every chichi boy. Pull them out. Out of parliament, every criminal, every scammer, every political scammer whose account can't count, all of them whose account can't count, back them out, spray them, they push them, some push up in our parliament, run them out, I drink out the milk, pull them out. Pull them out, mighty God, reverse them, indict them, mighty God, mighty God, mighty God, Holy Ghost, send a Holy Ghost. I spit them, deport them out of God's house. Some people in there want get deported back of the yard. Send them back. Jezebel, Delilah, send them back of the yard. Ahab, send them back anywhere they come from. Kingston, St. Andrew, Portland, St. Mary.
A corrupt government cannot liberate the people. If the head of the stream is corrupt, the entire river will be also. I do not support corruption. Corruption takes money away from children's education. It deprives hospitals of basic necessities. It means that roads are not fixed. Corruption deepens inequality. It siphons off taxpayers' money to make a few cronies richer with the political connections instead of benefiting the people. This government has been doing everything it can to weaken and undermine the Integrity Commission, which is an institution that I designed as Minister of Justice and brought the legislation to Parliament to fight corruption in this country. I have said it before and I will tell you again. Jamaica cannot move forward without a government built on integrity that embraces principles of good governance in this country.
And me build Central Kingston, you know. And me build Central Kingston. Ramon in I'm yard when me a build Central Kingston. You go in I'm yard, go tell him and him brother, say come me go carry no to Rosie make she expose them in a politics. And me carry them, go expose them all about in a politics. And I know Ramona undermine me. From 2016, Mrs. Madden down a Grace call me and tell me, say, Chris and Ramon and Sanjay, which is him brother, in the community, a campaign say, me can win the election 2016. Them go down a Grace go tell Mrs. Madden, and Mrs. Madden call me and tell me, Rosie, beware of them. Them a undermine you. So me know a long time, Sir Ramon and Chris and Sanjay did I do it. Mrs. Madden tell me long time and tell me, say, open me your eye. And all me, Chris was more explicit and sure say him a fight. Somebody did avoid Chris, but Ramon gave the impression like Chris is the problem. Chris carry news and Chris got this and talk this and Chris. Every time I talk to him about Chris, him pour down everything upon Chris. The time him did I do it. So now I know that Ramon was a snake and Ramon is the one that do all the things them way I do. I leave Ramon alone.
I dress up this thing, huh? I want these two bars that will show up on the screen. Get them rascal picture up properly. Anyway, people, up and running, up and gunning. Sticky Stocky Sweet TV, Keith Gargan. Cassava, Passava, Man Over Matter, up and running. Blessed, blessed Monday evening. And the bank holiday. Yeah, man, some people get some rest today. And it was a relaxing day as well. Time was nice as well. The place shot me there in London. So, yeah. I mean, it was a Jamaica hot like wow. Yeah. Like hot like a furnace. But anyway, now they have to talk about furnace. We can talk about some gutter politics, banana Republican politics, and we also talk about some social media politician and social media musician as well. 'Cause we are mix the two, you know. Because me said before, you know, say music and politics are the two biggest corruption ever in the world, you know. Me said that, you know. No one else to say that, and me say that, and that's my line. Nobody can take that from me, right? Because, you see, when you've been there and done it, both ways, you know. So, you know, politics and music are the two biggest corruption ever. People will kill people. People will poison people. People will do anything in the two entity, you know. The politics and things. Them Wobia, there's no rascal where Wobia work are there more than in the JLP type of politics where them deal with. From Siago days. But what we want to talk about now, when we say I go on, because Andrew Wallace got the lowest, you know, and so the lowest, to unpick, select, all the rascal. Look on them two piece of shit upon the screen now. Look on them. Eh? You think say in the early time when not even a Siago time you couldn't elect them people. Siago never elect them people. Yeah. But Andrew learn off of him and know say anything goes. What talent them people have? But never tell fucking lies. Tell lies to get paid for tell lies. So they don't give a shit about the Jamaican people. Because once them tell the lie, them get promotion. It a go on from our blood clot nationwide from a longer time. Look on this one named Shartnick when him Apka I come talk about when Mark Golan say about award and all these fucking shit. Me not understand. Me not understand this blood clot idiot here. But look at the two clowns them. And I'm supposed to call them that, you know. Marlon Margaret has gone to embarrass himself. Him trying to spin everything when there's no foxes there. And more have to know how them go in bed and sleep good at night time. Because them do the wrong thing just for money. That's why when them say money, you know, at the root of all evil, you know. Now you can understand, say, well then, that was a true word. Because money, not everybody do everything, you know. That's why money you make people sell on them ass. So it corrupted bad. And them a boy you see on the screen, yeah. Marlon and Apka, away more name. Because them look insipid, to be truthful. We look at. Them can't dress. Them dress like a clown. Them look like a clown. And them come in a parliament. All them are come in a parliament. Only an Andrew in this government. A brother like him. Because if you go come in a politics, there's nothing wrong with your looks or whatever, you know. But if you go look away and look fuck up, and then you come tell a bag of lie, and I bring down disgrace on the fucking on yourself, on a party, and then one of the things that Jamaica all idiot, because even the Labour right now say on our blood clot tell lies. When you are a line machine, that's why you plant it there and get promotion. If you get how much blood clot, million, and I get benefit as well. This is what Andrew Wallace running government off of pure false, pure fake. These two guys are fake, right? They have no qualification for talk about Senate. And then Marlon Morgan, him a part of the education, imply him. Somebody do some role of the education. For me, I tell you, These, I don't know what going on, brother. I don't know what blood clot going on. And this is true. These politicians where Andrew Wallace unpick and bring in and promote. Because a bright woman like Malibu Fort, put her in her cabinet and know she come and attack some things. But then again, when we look on her attack, she cock mouth, kill cock, because she had two mouth. Because she vote other day and then she come back and say no. So you can't, she lose her credibility, right? So you can't be trusted. She can't be trusted. And that's how me see it. But them people are this blood, like you call them lucky come, lucky go generation. Yeah, man, lucky come, lucky go generation. They come, them the rascal read about history. Then I even look on documentary, because it's easy if you can't read, you can't blood clot, look on a documentary and study it. You can get a name of a documentary and look for it or buy it and study it about fucking history. It's there, it's all there. So you know, if you can't read, but you can know and get knowledge. But them don't do that. And just like the blood clot people, them in the music, well, not in the music, the patient them who are go party every blood clot night and a floss and enjoy themselves. And if you got like say, well then there's nothing happening. You see when it come on the blood clot doorstep, it got too late for you. Because one the young one and one the one we can say, well then lucky come, lucky go generation. One not do nothing. One the young one, in the days where I grew up in the 70s, 80s, younger wanna come out and lead the charge. One not do nothing. All you know blood clot try to dress up and go out and flash, show off for yourself and dance to some trap music and rate and lele. Me tell you something, that now go put it in nowhere. When I get blood clot freeze out in our own country, I ain't gonna be too late when I don't realize what go on. Because why? You know why? When I never take no action when the time was there to take the action. When a free launch, lucky come, lucky go generation, and that one I deal with. So all the time we gotta go up his look and see what go on so they can rise up. Because when you see a party, right during the week, from Monday right back to Monday, everywhere ram out. So why you can't take that energy and go up on the street and know, so we can't have sense, I don't like saying we are dunce. But in the prayer, if you go out there and blood clot, do the raving, don't give a fuck about the country, and then you talk about Jamaica. Jamaica what? I just want to feel like, I just want to mind thinking. Yeah, man. That's why I say mind over matter, you know. When a mind think that way there, but the matter what we fucking we're good and we're good for una important. For you and the kids, because we don't have a pitney too. Some of them have a grand pitney out there blood clot rave. And what go on in the country, you don't give a fuck. Because if you're not raising a voice as young people, the same amount of people when you see the party them out ram out, if them did come out, other people don't come out, and then you see a different type of thing. If the government enough a blood clot, step back, big time. But no, because that's why them are low on the right now, you know, for party, you know, to get through them way. Because remember, you know, if them get them way to all them a rascal move, you see all them street party want a blood clot enjoy themselves, it's just a little matter of fucking time. Remember me telling you that. We don't look on that, you know. We don't see what go on. We don't dissect what go on. We don't look on that. But it's just a matter of time to Andrew Rascal mindset. The only thing he want to keep is carnival with the funny people and things like that, because that is a big corporation where money involved. They want to street dance on our keep, you know. Him not get none of that too tough. And he want to lock on from that because they don't like them things there. I want to carry blood clot see that. So anyway, this guy get through with the way he might try to push. The narrow, the NIDS, and the cyber rascal crime bill, all them things there. If he ever get through with them rascal 3 fucking things there. I'm not even talk about the Constitution yet. Because that's a hard road to go down. Because we play politics with that. But believe you me, people, when you can't stay there, when the younger people, when you just have no mind and go to go rave, jump up and down, flash, drink, and go on there like a fuck around and see what go on right before the fucking eyes. And that more have to know. I don't know so well it go affect you later on. You call it the long-term affecting, you know. That is the fucking thing, you know. when things start to affect you long term, you know. Because it now go really come back again, you know. Because Andrew Wallace a mash the thing up in a way where, boy, me no know. Me not go be around to see what blood clot when it will be next bomber clot. No for we not that going to what go happen in the next bomber clot 25 years. You understand? So me not understand what go on. Well, me understand what go on, but me not understand how them people are going really maneuver and take it when there might be opportunity to do something about it at the earlier stage, like now. What them do? Instead of them going to go protest and form some revolutionary rascal movement as young people, what them do? Every party them there, them find it, one party to another party to the another, rave and floss, and do all kind of manner of evil. And the thing we run for them eyes, where them shouldn't really penetrate deeply, they make them pussy hole where they on the screen. Come. Look on them, look on the people where them have to a place like Jamaica or Jamaica really stay. Think I'm gonna have them blood clot people that come. That's why I'm saying, you know, we talk about, you know, social media politician, social media musician. Because a social media make them a blood clot people really have a say, you know. The one upca from nationwide. Because pay a chink over there so you know, and fly. And look on these two guys. Eh? There's nothing wrong enough to come and tell the truth, you know. But when they come and look like that, and a blood clot tell pure lie and a spin things, and have no shame on top of it. And that Andrew Wallace like. So those are some of the Andrew Wallace inchman when plant there. Them two here, Nestor Morgan, Floyd Green, and the one named Rascal Charles Jr. Yeah? Pernell Charles Jr. That nasty one there. You see, other day in blood clot missing. I fired him there, I get operation, you know. And then people now blood clot see them things there, you know. Them guy have the blood clot money to go and get them good treatment and come back. Why never do it at Jamaica? If them say Jamaica so blood clot great, and Jamaica moved away there, and I moved away there, why them can't use the hospital in Jamaica for sure say well then? Why them go foreign go do that? When you come with him and bandage up, in him head, so I'm going to do a minor operation, but you never do it at Jamaica. Never do it at Jamaica. Nah. Not even that them no blood clot respect. Because them thief up the taxpayers' money already, so them can't carry them family, go to the ice, rascal, doctor, the most important, I want Jamaican doctor. And them people now see them bomb whole thing here. To get up on blood clot. What are them, you know? Anybody, even them looking two idiots on the stream. If anything happen to them, as any sickness, them can afford to fly out. Right? And that make me laugh sometime, you know. But yet them talk, hope the blood clot health system and talk about nothing wrong with it. Imagine that. But when it come to them hospital, them not using it. What kind of people like these? And you know, all right, them can't talk anything. Because we know say them plant there to talk this fuckery. But why? We go back again. Why this blood clot Jamaican rascal population and young people? The younger people, them one time in the 80s, young people I make the move. Pan them things there. Me know that, me see it with my eyes. Why these young people now instead of them rascal? So you know me think as well too. Never see smoke without fire, you know. The reason why Andrew Wallace and rascal shut down them street dance there, you know, is to keep them happy. So they forgot about the brother there, you see Andrew Wallace, him fucking smart, you know. Him deaf on a roll, you know. I don't get somebody was smart and using common sense can figure him out, you know. Because you have the nice abatement, you have all these things. Labor right, them not like no blood clot and poor people enjoy themselves. They don't like this music thing, you know, they want to shut it out. But he might use this now to make them people happy. So give them a free range, them can go party every night. And the guy, what Andrew Wallace doing, him study them, you know. Him study Jamaican people, you know. To a length, him study them. That's why I'm come out to the clocks. Because him knows so them going to jump on that and say, oh, yeah, the boss are wear clocks. Rate and Lele. So him study them mindset. Simple as that. Andrew Wallace study the mindset of Jamaica. And that him a use on them. And the bomber wall them can't see that. So why you think him a blood clot and make them street party dead every fucking night? Because I want to keep the people them quiet. Because once Jamaica people them lose a screw on that, you know. Once them go out there and them a floss and them a rave and rate and lele, them not gonna say everything all right. Them have forgot about the bigger picture what go on. So Andrew Wallace said they'll blindfold them and give them the rascal entertainment street. To go all kind of blood clot raving them during the week and fucking weekend. Yeah, man. And that I go on for what go on, you know. Some can see what go on. But once him get through him rascal things them he want to get through, if him feel like if the PMP allow him to fucking do it, because that me I watch too, you know. Because if this narrow bill really go through, with just as how it stated so, and PMP allow that, me don't know what go on. But right now, people, no open up no eyes. Because Andrew Wallace I play with tricks in the book. And he's him good at it as well. He's a mastermind on that. And that make him reach him so far. Because all the elections Andrew Wallace win, none of them no win fairly. From the leadership election to the general election. Pure crookery. So this man is crookery in every fucking ways. Right? Him come from mash up Jamaica. So him Marcus Garvey talk about. And him look on them things there. And then him have him two sons them a train to be a Wallace destiny to come and take over. Mark my word, you know, I say that, you know. Mark my word. I train if you come. You so see, in at the end of the day, young Wallace them jumping on the blood clot ring. And people can vote for them too. Because him already turn the people them eye. Well, not even them eye. Turn them mind. You know, some soft rascal butter. But melt. So them brains are melt. So then nothing of them brains to think about. More than to say yes to everything. Yes, sir. Yes to everything. So film son them a trade. Because they come like the Marcos them in a Philippine, you know. I remember, you know. When the same Marcos who are rule Philippine now. When the son them was a little pitney. And Marcos them flee and go America. 1982, run them time there. When I pay corruption and have a runway and go seek asylum. The same son where them blood clot have a little baby. And him come back now. And I rule Philippine. And the people come back and vote with the Marcos again. So it happen over there so it can't happen in Jamaica. So they make nobody fool, you know. Them groom them blood clot too, boy, then. But not see them. Nobody not know them. Too tough. Besides them see a few pictures. Then I'm mingle with people. But yet him come and alive, rascal, other fucking people, kids. And then talk about them shoot out. When nothing no go so. When not a thing no go so. Yo, let me tell you something. It's very rascal, unfair. It's very blood clot, unfair and tricky. I don't understand this. Why people not open them blood clot eyes? And that more to know why they not open them eyes. Yo, one tricky situation, you know, what go on, you know. But these two blood clot idiot. Unpick. And look at them. All them reaching a parliament. Just like you see some artists now, what say them are artists, if it was in social media, they wouldn't go nowhere. They might go through the authentic way. I know that as a man who blood clot produce song and things like that, and in this business, none of them artists that at the time, them couldn't, people can't tell you the same thing. Because it's an internet, social media world we are living in. So all kind of drunk come in politics. Because social media show them up. Like Chopper John all these fucking people. When coming up as a blogging rascal shit. What about something about the cyber thing tomorrow or whatever. But anyway, I want a serious thing I go on. Yeah man, with these people. Look at these faces when a parliament. Them not no talent. Them just trained to tell lie and spin things. They are government spin doctors. That's all them do. The government use them as a spin doctor for them thing. Because the whole government is about that. The whole of them lie. Because when them say lie and everybody support it, there's a wicked rascal organization of government that, you know. Yeah, man. Wicked. When I say wicked, it's wicked. You know, rascal normal. You know, normal. Wicked rascal machine that, you know. Yeah. Wicked blood clot machine. Believe you me. Boy, you boy. Them two here. Social media politician. They don't have nothing good in them to say. Just corruption, just lie. Because you see, then again, you know, every liar is a thief, you know. And that is at the facts. So them a tell lie, them a get them pay for the Senate. Look what one Joe is bringing this. Boy. But you see, sometimes you have to look on some things, you know. Why, oh boy, I don't know. Everything in the Labour Party is fucking bad. Because there's nobody on the quality. You see most of the people that were in at the hospital, at the transport, JUTC. The whole of them people, you know, what do them job there, you know? They don't qualify to do nothing, you know. All the hospital, you have people like fucking Chopper John, the chopping black boy, blagger boy who used to be a chef. He was the main man for the Rascal project at the hospital a month ago be here. And then he have a next job again in our school. And people who have the qualification can't get the blood clot job. You understand? So this is the type of government. That's why nothing now going to get better. It's going to run down like fuck. And that's why them now no money. The road they will fix. They must say no, nothing they going to fix again. Because them use up all the money on thief election, buy out election. Now them are fucking, you know what I do? I juggle, I'm juggling. You know what you do juggling? I juggle the whole economy. Them are juggling the whole economy. When you come and see people like Rascal, Pernell Charles Jr. now, a blog. I don't know if a munchy poo page him upon, like a dunce idiot girl. So you see them pay, and then them come on about cyber crime. Anyway, we're going to talk about, me talk about that, whether tomorrow, because that's one different thing. You know, I mix up everything in one, right? So, we see Pernell Charles Jr., him got a friend who get him operation. Don't use the Jamaican hospital. Right? Kind of good enough for them. Because them already thief up the taxpayers' money. So them can flash money and go overseas and get treatment, the best treatment, and just fly back to Jamaica with the plaster upon the man the same way. One if you're gonna make the Jamaican doctor and take off the plaster, I'm gonna go back to fucking Miami. One if him have the plaster upon him on, so if you change the dressing now, do you gonna make the car? Don't think them trust Jamaica if you do nothing, you know. It's like them scan them one country, you know, because they put in another condition there with the hospital, innit? So, at the end of the day, do you go because Miami, you know, say hour, you know, and them have the money to flash, you know. Do you gonna fly back to Miami to get the dressing off and make them rascal monitor it? I think so, you know, because, you know, I don't think we're gonna trust Jamaican Because that's how them look on Jamaican health service right now. But yet them say every day, oh, everything is good. Like Christopher Tough Tongue. Everything is good. And no matter how people talk out, them say lie people I tell. What the bomber ass clad is this? Happening in a whole little fucking island. I want me see bomber clad people out there. A floss. Every brass lad 7 days a week. Because Andrew do that, Andrew loud him for do that, Andrew have a mission, him know what him doing. Because him a keep them sweet. So once them a go, God, them, can you see, him study them mind, Him study them mind. So once him keep them sweet, oh yeah, government, them a rave. Because them a blood clot thing. Them not think out of the bomber clot box. Them not think big. Them mind a think small. Oh, raving, dance some trap music. And all kind of excitement broke out and do all kind of fuckery. When make benefit to them in a long fucking run. But them know when it's too fucking late. And that me I say, Marcus Gay have telling already, when you're not going to know the bomb yourself in the back against the fucking wall. Yeah. And the word that come to pass. Because Andrew Wallace study, He do everything for about lad, get a people with each arm on him. Look on the clerks. Look how him do the clerks. The clerks full a lot of people, Yeah, man. The clerks full a lot of people. Then them take up his bomber class road and name about bad mind. Bad mind. Nobody no bad mind like labor right, And a bad mind make Andrew Wallace behave like this. Because I'm say PJ Patterson get 18 years. And him there and him I say, him come now and want to do something. And I do it all illegally. Not legally. And legally might fucking do it. And we go to any means necessary to get him Rascal mission accomplished. Yeah. And that me I see him I deal with. And then him can just go around and recruit. All of them people, they recruit all of these rascal thief. We back him. Because that is a mafia thing them are running. Them not really select the people who have the merit, from merit, who can do the job, who qualify to do the job, Then put anybody there once when I know nothing about the job. That's why Jamaica must run down, can't go forward. If just like the police, nobody can tell me say, Andrew Wallace now bring in man from the street, feed them a food, and make them be a police. Can do it from nationwide already, Him take man from nationwide and make him be a top policeman and do no training. You can't want more than that. That is slackness. Bad slackness. So if him do that nationwide, you think him not go blood clot? Just got some new police here come on the street there. And whenever you hear no much police are come and join the force and things like that, then they record a gun or something. Everything around backdoor deal, So you have some police are coming at the force, who are coming over the street, they come from prison too. Now getting a back road. Yes, you have some criminal that come in the force. And it's a government here. But people are going to come talk about this, But I'm glad we can't talk about it now because we see it long time. Yeah, man. Andrew Wallace, them are rascal recruit people in the police force. Where they do 1 day training. When they have the biggest gun on them. And that's why I say them can cover them face. Because if they don't cover them face, they will get exposed. Somebody will call it out and bust it out. And say, well, Lord, what's a criminal that? Home dead so. So they have to wear masks. So them can't identify. So that's the rascal thing. But if Mark Gold is supposed to blood class step up, the PMP opposition, and make them hear saying that can't happen. But everybody keep quiet. And that's why them get away them things there. Okay, you join the force to serve and protect. And nobody can see your face, you talk to them. You dress up like a bank robber. And the opposition, them not saying nothing about that. That's why they get with all these bomber rascal thing, because we have to have strong opposition. I care zero, you know, because not because we support Bumbleclad PMP. If they're not doing the right thing, I'm gonna call them out because them should not never allow this. Apart from what they come out and do, kick up people and I get away with it. These are the last fucking straw. We can say somebody join the police force. Oh yeah, wear blood clot mask. Like a robber. And if you see somebody in a mask as a citizen, you go step to them and say, boy, let me see your face. You want to see the fucking citizen face. And you can just pop off that mask and give him $2 as well. And nothing come out of it. But who can do that with you know? Nobody can see the face. Nobody can take out the mask on the face. What the blood clot are going on, man? And that boy have to know what's fucking going on. Yo, this is very sad and shaky, you know. Yeah, man. Very sad and blood clot shaky. Very rascal, sad and shaky, believe you me. I don't know what go on. Very blood clot, sad and shaky. Because I don't understand how a police can blood clot, go on a training, sign up, become serve and protect. Right? Sign up, become serve and protect, and I don't understand this blood clot. I don't understand this. I can't understand this. How can I understand this? Yeah, you see a police come, you can't see his face. The man look terrible with two big fucking guns. Can some people that mean in a government and opposition justify that? And people now really come out hard and talk. People that come out hard and talk. Well, I kind of really, sometimes I want to figure it out, you know. And I just can't. I just can't figure it out sometimes. This fucking rascal, right, get me angry in a lot of way. Yeah, man. Get me fucking angry in a lot of way, to be truthful. I don't understand this. Why? Why the fuck is this happening? And that me want to know why this blood clot happening. Eh? I don't understand. A police come out and him in a blood clot mask like that. Now, sir. Him in a mask like that. Well, I don't know, you know, I don't know, but you know, at the end of the day, people have a judge for themselves, you know. But I see people instead them a judge and really a fight for them country. Not just them country, you know, for them kids, because most of them blood clot girl, them have kids. And before them do that, them not fucking do that. Them out there rave and all these rascal things. And them not rascal fighting for them country. What the fuck is going on? Eh? Wagwan pa wagwan. I don't understand. I don't understand at all. I have to really think twice sometime. I said, is a dream I'm seeing here, I'm getting, is a dream or is real?
when you check it, it's fucking real. Sometimes I have things that if it's a fucking dream, you know. When me see happen. Yeah, when me see happen in a Jamaica land, me have to say, well then, is it a dream? I'm never talking about AI because we have to say I'm talking about dream. Because it looks so shaky, it looks so unreal, and all these things. It looks so unreal, really. Yeah, people. I tell you, say, boy, what me say I go on, man, this politics, the type of thing with them people are bringing. The needs, the narrow, the cyber, all kind of blood clotting and changing the constitution for suit for them oneself. Boy, I mean, I tell you, you know, if Jamaica really sleep out them things, you know, because Jamaica not be a different. Jamaica, let me tell you, so Jamaica, then again, what wanna happen? And don't surprise if you see them things. If them labor rather get them one way, them gonna change it, the name from Jamaica to a different country. Because anything them say go, you know. Because remember, Seago Highway, you know, Seago they fight against it and say, waste of money. PMP government, I do waste of money, I'll try to beat it down, fight it down. And where blood clot and jewels come down. Come get name Seago Highway, same Ras Clot Highway women I fight against. And I talk about a waste of money, waste of taxpayers' money, all them things there. Very serious thing. So then upon this cyber bill there, right, you know. Right? And what they will get themselves in a blood clot job, you know, because them breach because remember, you know, all them people are boast and show off. And them call them for them social media warriors. Them invite them all of the galas them. Remember, you know, them invite them at the galas them and call them out, give them good treatment. All of the blood clot JLP bloggers them, you know, call them out. What the name Eli, the deputy speaker, call them out. The chopping black. and name them out, how much of them, how them powerful. Cause it will work for them time there, because them get good pay and them send out false information and tell lie. So now it's not working for them again. Some of them blood clot ease up now. You don't get a piece of shit like Munchie Boo Boo. I don't know. But them still, but you see them not get no blood clot highlight again. It's the PMP, people who are black with the PMP, I get all the highlight and people are listen to. And what PMP bloggers them are put out there, the main media then are put it out there. So the bloggers them bigger than the main media now. And that I go on power go on. So them are try to come with something now, because for them blogging thing now go on with nothing again. Because a long time them are try with this about from 2 years ago or 3 years. Them talk about this cyber thing and they want to stop. Because a long time them are try, they come up with the same fuckery again. Them people not give up, you know. Them are some bomber class set of animal. Lucifer them. Look at that one here, Camilla Johnson. Look like a fucking witch. Eh? The amount of corruption and baggage you have on her. As Bob said, if night could turn to bomber class day. Let her have to run away, pussy. Me I telling you that. Because I want to make people sick and really get cross and hungry. So now I come now to try. They might try to push everything one time, narrow, cyber, needs. And none of them is no benefit to Jamaican people. It's just going to oppress them. Just going to oppress them. And I mean, I said that's why I'm fixed with them, you know. Some of them, you know, because they not take no time out to pay attention. They prefer go to a bomber clot during the week rave. Yeah, during the week fucking rave. And floss out. Anyway, we hear when I talk about this rascal stinking dirty bill. Right? Because this is just a stinking dirty bill. That's all I can say. Just a stinking dirty fucking bill.
Implement a code of standard procedures to be complied with in any search and seizure under Section 18 of the Principal Act. This ensures due observance of the safeguards contained in Section 19, which requires the documentation of computer materials seized during the course of an investigation. And Mr. President, this was thought important because complex cybercrimes matters often succeed or fail based on the manner in which the digital evidence is handled. And the amendment is therefore intended to standardize the process by which cyber incidents are managed within the JCF and to ensure that all personnel follow consistent procedures when responded to cyber-related matters. And my understanding is that the work has started on the development of these standard procedures, and that by Q4 this year, we should have, they should be completed and the full sensitization take place within the JCF and related prosecutorial agencies. Mr. President, Clause 10 amends Section 20 of the Principal Act, and it simply makes an editorial update by...
And I hope you know, say what good for the goose, good for the fucking gander, you know. Because nobody no preach like phone bloggers them, you know. And tell lies. You know. So I hope you know coming up blood like when I come with something where one might regret it, you know. Because one can't do without blood clot, be little people. Right? Especially like girl named Munchie. Picky head Munchie. Done said Munchie. Women don't know how much you have get paid for fucking attack fuckery. They can't even have a good hairstyle and attack big. I hear just picky and dry. She have the same hairstyle all the while. Cheap blood clot hairstyle. And I come go and on the body. So I hope we talk about them things here. You know, because I don't know what they going to work out here. Because what they must go after, you know, is just PMP bloggers, you know. We really have the audience. Really talk up. Like people like PDTV. And a lot more too. Yeah. Even me, if you say something right, you know, them can be rascal put out something around my rascal commentary. But it's not going to work, you know, because social media don't belong to the government. And there's a quote there. Because they go down a road where you can't challenge them in a court, you know. Because social media, them can't put... If America don't bomb clad do that, America have much more, nearly 200 million bomb clad people. England don't do that. England must have nearly 80,000 million people. What the fuck you look at Jamaica where they have 2 million people now coming little fuckery. We don't go away, man. Because it's not gonna work. We not wasting time, waste parliament time, when you should not look at the blood clot people, them give them somewhere to live in as Westmoreland and Trelawney, and them places were effective. Now, when I come to talk about cyber crime and things like that, when you try it already, I never want to come back with the same fuckery again, right? So instead of people look out for the people might help them, you know. Them look out for themselves and come with some fuckery. Because, you know, you spit in the sky, it fall in your fucking eye, you know, because, believe you me, you might blood clot, but yo, because, uno, for uno bloggers them, you know, them are the violator, you know. But uno no care. Uno just want to fucking know, so because the truth will come out, it a burn, you know. Local rascal bloggers are exposing of fucking nasty clot. I can't take it. Yeah.
Aligning the reference in Section 20 to Section 18, which empowers the parish judge to issue a warrant authorizing a constable to search for and to seize computer material.
Yeah.
The amendment links the provisions of Section 20 to the specific provision of the Act where the authority for issuing the warrant resides. Additionally, Mr. President, the clause replaces the reference to the Director of Public Prosecutions with the prosecution, therefore widening the category of court officers who can make the application for forfeiture of seized computer materials to include clerks of the court where required. Mr. President,
them blood clot people
Clause
will go
11
with this.
aligns the Interception of Communications Act with the amendment refers to in Clause 2 by similarly updating the definition of the word key to indicate that the key can be either electronic or digital, making sure that
you don't want to mash up free
work
speech.
together well. So, Mr. President, as I take my seat and allow the debate to unfold, I again just reaffirm that there are many opportunities in the digital economy for all members of society, from ease of communication, doing business, accessing public services, banking transaction, income generation, investment. But at the core of digital transition must be the mechanisms to protect our citizens from potential harm that may also come from misuse of the same technologies. This bill has benefited from the work of the Joint Select Committee, which paves the way for bipartisan support, of which I am confident. And I'm therefore honored to commend this bill, Mr. President, to the members on both sides and look forward to their support. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Small Ferguson.
Yeah, I'm good. Mr. President, I rise to contribute to the Cybercrimes Amendment Bill 2026, and at the outset let me indicate that I support the bill. I support the amendments that have been made, and I want to in particular
PNP want to support every blood clot thing. That's what's wrong with them, you know.
With many of the comments that the...
We're not going to rascal blindfold and walk over something, you see.
That's good. Yes. So I was saying,
I don't want to fight them fucking...
With many of the comments that the minister would have in particular directed to the public. And this is a very important piece of legislation, and I think strikes to the heart of central issues relevant to our everyday lives. Everything is online, and everything is online, and you know it is really how we live, and in particular, many of the more unsavory elements of life are now playing out online. So, you know, I think the minister gave the public an excellent charge in that regard. You know, this particular bill and, you know, the principal act was heavily ventilated in the other place. There was extensive debate. It was the subject of a joint select committee whose work resulted in the amendments that are before us today. They undertook a comprehensive review, and you know, I had the opportunity to review the report, and I think, you know, the conclusion of same is why this bill has such heavy bipartisan support. Now, that being said, before turning to the substantive issues, I want to make a comment about the process that has brought us here. Right? The minister acknowledged that this certainly we would have wanted to have been considering these amendments before. Now, she mentioned that the Joint Select Committee started their work in 2021, and they concluded their report in 2023, and we are now discussing this in 2026. Right? Now, the fact is, Mr. President, that, you know, this is not an unusual timeline in legislative terms here in Jamaica, right? But it presents a very particular challenge in the context of the legislation that is before us and legislation of this nature. The truth is, Mr. President, that this legislation is directly tied to technology, right? And that is an area that evolves rapidly, continuously, and unpredictably. And what that means is that any delay in the work necessary in this space has real and practical consequences. It creates a widening gap between the law and the reality that it's intended to regulate everyday life. And it means that by the time amendments are brought before this Honorable Senate, elements of the framework may already be less relevant than they could be, given the pace of evolution of technology. And indeed, cybercrime itself has evolved since the Joint Select Committee started their work in 2021. Now, it's not a criticism of the work that has been done by the committee. Right? It was carefully considered, and it provides an excellent foundation for the amendments before us. But it does highlight, I think, what is a structural challenge in our legislative process, and a degree of latency that is particularly exposed when we look at laws in areas like this. And so I think there are two important reflections that arise from this. The first, from my perspective, is just a general reminder that we need to prioritize urgency, in a sense, in bringing forward amendments to legislation that operate in fast-moving domains like technology. That's number one. And I think, two, that we need to consider whether for legislation of this nature, where we are aware that it requires continuous review, that we embed more frequent and structured review mechanisms, not just reviewing it in, say, an episodic or infrequent way. Because in this space, Mr. President, as I mentioned, for a law of this nature, if it's not evolving, then by definition, it's falling behind the reality. So in that context, I'll make a couple comments with respect to the bill before us today. Mr. President, the first area I want to touch on is artificial intelligence. Right? Now, I think this area most clearly illustrates the point that I just made with respect to the need for urgency and frequent updating of laws of this nature. Because when you review the bill in detail, Mr. President, given the timing of the review, it becomes apparent that artificial intelligence is not addressed expressly at all. I understand that the minister characterized the act as being technology agnostic. Right? And Mr. President, I contend, however, that given the far-reaching and transformative capabilities of artificial intelligence, no cybercrimes law can be sufficiently agnostic in that regard. Now, to be fair, elements of the bill do, I think, attempt to embody that agnostic nature and, you know, to provide sufficient breadth with respect to changes in technology. And it shows up, for example, in the provision which extends the definition of an intimate image to include one that is captured, generated, or created. Right? And I support that inclusion. So it does allow for the possibility for an AI-generated or manipulated image, which is commonly referred to as deepfakes, to fall into the scope of offense, right, where it's published without consent. But beyond that, the bill, Mr. President, it treats things like artificial intelligence in a largely indirect manner. And there is a gap there from my perspective, because AI is simply just not another tool. It fundamentally changes how cyber harm can be created, how it can be scaled, how it can be deployed. Right? It creates an environment, Mr. President, where images can be fabricated convincingly. Right? And AI has evolved so rapidly that the kind of images that you would see 6 months ago and the kind of technology that would be widely available 6 months ago has changed at a pace that we've never seen before.
Look on that.
It can clone voices and mimic individuals in real time. It identifies, you know, things that can be constructed and deployed digitally, documents that can be fabricated. Right? It can create highly personalized deception at scale, which is a problem. Right? And Mr. President, importantly, much of the harm happens before anything is ever published. Right? It occurs, from my perspective, in some instances at the point of creation of these fabricated images or whatever the case is. It occurs from my perspective when content, which may not be published in the traditional sense, is used to threaten or coerce or to extort or to impersonate, in a sense. So the question from my perspective for us is whether the law is presently addressing the full life cycle of the harm, right? Or whether it's really focused on the end point when the damage is truly done. In jurisdictions like the UK and Australia, the legislative approach is already evolving to take account of this challenge. In the United Kingdom, for example, I understand that recent reforms have moved to criminalize not only sharing the images, but also the creation of the images, threatened sharing of the images, to include the deepfakes that I mentioned before. In Australia, I understand that the law recognizes digitally altered or synthetic material as within the law, and it has evolved to capture both the creation and non-consensual distribution of this content, alongside practical mechanisms to respond to this kind of image-based abuse. Right? So, I think, Mr. President, these examples point to a direction of travel. And against that backdrop, I believe that there are 3 areas that we could look at to strengthen the framework that is underpinned by this legislation. Now, I understand that there has been the creation of the AI Council, and there's parallel work being done there, which is necessary. It allows for real-time changes to be made outside of the legislative framework and to bolster it, and that's important, and I commend that. But I believe we should also consider, for future, making the treatment of artificial intelligence more explicit in this act, first and foremost, by at a minimum directly referencing the synthetic and AI generated content, and the current language is very helpful, I think. It clearly articulates and removes certain gaps that existed before, but I think placing artificial intelligence directly there will remove any ambiguity and future-proof the legislation. Secondly, I think we need to consider whether the offense should extend to the creation or commissioning of non-consensual synthetic images, right, where there's separation between the creation of the images and the actual publishing and distribution of them. This would address, I think, the harm at source, right? And it would almost, I'd say, dissuade persons who may be more adept at the use of the technology from doing so on behalf of the ultimate perpetrator. Right? And the third, Mr. President, is considering introducing an offense for threatened publication, right? Threatening the use of this technology in ways that some people may not even imagine. They may see the results of it and feel afraid by virtue of unknown capabilities. Right? I think that is important as well. Mr. President, I think the bill takes an important step forward, to be clear. But, of course, there could be greater specificity. I'll move to the second point, Mr. President, which is related to an element of what is already covered by the legislation. But I'm suggesting that we contemplate taking it a step further, which is cyber-enabled harassment. Right? And note the use of the word harassment. So I acknowledge that the bill does make important progress with respect to non-consensual publication of intimate images, which is very important. And I think I would imagine one of the typologies that the GCF is inundated with respect to cybercrimes. Right? And it's very necessary, very welcome, supported. But I think cyber harm, Mr. President, extends beyond.
But you see what them people want to come in with now. Because once you is a public figure, you know. Public figure is a public figure. It don't matter. So once you is a public figure and your picture out there, what they want to tell us now, you can't rascal use nobody picture unless you have consent. That gone down the rascal fucking drain. That is too much. That joke. Public figure is public figure. Once you is a public figure, your state things gonna out there. So you can't come make law now. So if somebody use somebody picture, say me if you talk about Andrew Wallace now, I'm gonna go up on the internet and find a picture with him. And I may talk about him on the topic. What they want to tell me say now? I can't get in trouble for that because I never get no consent to use the picture. If I them road, them I go down, you know. I want slippery, blood clot road. This is like freedom of speech gone completely. Because that means that the only people that want to be able to use people in a public figure image is the main media them like TVG and you name them. And if you want to put in nation wrong in it, so be it. But as far as me I say, them want to put the blogger them on a level like them is non-existent because them is on top now and they want to break them. That's what I say a bill look like, you know. But we'll learn more about it anyway. Yeah, we have to learn more about it.
Intimate images. And this is where, in my view, I think the framework could be expanded. So what we're seeing increasingly is not an instance where there is a single malicious act that's committed in silo, but a pattern of sustained digital behavior, coordinated behavior by one and multiple people. It's a situation where, for example, an individual is targeted by multiple emails, targeted on many different platforms by fake accounts. It's the creation of those multiple fake accounts to harass people across these platforms. Coordinated attacks, reputational harm, persistent intimidation online. It is, in effect, cyber stalking, really, in modern form. And Mr. President, one of the challenges, I think, just looking at the current framework is that it looks at incidents in an individual way, right? And they can be prosecuted in an individual way. A message is accessed, the email is accessed, the post is accessed, and the harm is, however, not always that single act. The harm, I think, is compounded by persistence. Right? It's about the accumulation and the combination of the different mechanisms that are used. And the fact that conduct is repeated and targeted and sustained over time. And I think that's what transforms the conduct from being merely a nuisance to being genuine harassment. And there is a growing body of data globally that shows that this kind of harassment, and it's apparent, right? It causes significant psychological and emotional impacts, particularly among young people. Right? So from my perspective, Mr. President, I think the law should be capable of recognizing not just the isolated acts, but characterizing, I'd say, courses of conduct and treating those in a more severe way. It's not just a one-off threat or a one-off distribution of an image, but looking at people who exude this kind of serial criminal behavior and treating with them very separately from somebody who may have done disparate elements of this kind of thing. It would allow us to look at the behavior in aggregate and treat with it accordingly, this kind of pattern-based conduct. I think, Mr. President, it will allow law enforcement to be equipped to assess behavior in its totality rather than just in fragments, Mr. President. So the third and final area that I want to touch on is really to lend my support to a comment that was made in the other place, which touches on the issue of cross-border enforcement in this area. Now, I want to associate myself with the call that was made for Jamaica to consider acceding to the Budapest Convention on Cybercrime. Now, Mr. President, the reality is that many of these offenses that we're discussing or that are covered by this act, they don't originate within our borders. Many of them don't. I mean, and the minister mentioned that, in fact, we have signed on to the UN treaty targeting cybercrimes in December of 2024, I believe. But I believe in relation to this particular area, more can be done. Right? It's here to stay. So, when individuals responsible for this kind of crime operate from different jurisdictions, when the infrastructure facilitating the crime is used, or rather that is used, the infrastructure that's used is located elsewhere, when the evidence is required to investigate and prosecute the matters sit outside of Jamaica, it creates a situation where we may not have seamless access or coordination. Right? Now, I understand that in practice, we have been able to do work in different instances and work through these challenges in, via channels and established mechanisms. But those arrangements may be limited, potentially, in nature. Right? So from my perspective, I think what is required is a strategy to ensure that we have the best access to cooperation and not just on a case-by-case basis, a framework that allows for consistent and structured and timely cooperation. Right? And by virtue of that, I am calling for us to consider looking at the Budapest Convention. Right? It will allow us to obtain digital evidence located in other jurisdictions. It will enable more mutual legal assistance, coordinated investigations. I think those things can only serve to bolster our cybercrime prevention and fighting framework and tools. Right? Mr. President, cybercrime is, by its very nature, borderless. And if our enforcement mechanisms are not as interconnected as they can be, then we may be at a disadvantage. And for that reason, I think this warrants serious consideration. So in closing, Mr. President, I want to reiterate that we support the bill. I want to again endorse the minister's call to action from the public. And I think the bill, despite the fact that it could have come here sooner, represents meaningful progress. It modernizes important aspects of the law. It strengthens protections. It reflects the careful work of the Joint Select Committee and the deliberations that have taken place in the other place that would have brought forward, I think, ideas that can be taken forward. But, Mr. President, as I indicated at the outset, we have to prioritize consistent and constant review for laws of this nature, given the evolution. We have to prioritize urgency in relation to laws of this nature and continuous adaptability. And it requires a willingness to always be refining, right? Because the issues that we've discussed so far this morning, to include AI and harassment and so on, they are not static. They consistently evolve in the same way that we consistently have to update our antiviruses on our computer. That is how we should consider the legal framework here. So, Mr. President, despite those facts, this is a step forward, and it has our support. If it pleases you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Small Ferguson. Senator Cavan Gale.
Thank you, President. President, I rise as a member of the Joint Select Committee. And I think in the Senate, Senator Shireen Golden Campbell had joined the committee in the latter stages. And I want to take the opportunity to commend the work of the Joint Select Committee. And I want to make reference to CTD Wakim Murray, who is here. Who had to deal with all those thought-provoking pushes that took place in that committee, and also Colonel Godfrey Sterling. And I think all the ambush the committee tried to pursue, he kept us in charge. I also want to commend Minister Darrell Vaz for his work in presiding over that committee and to allow us to be here where we are today. President, we live in a world that the digital transformation continues to evolve. One of the things that faced that committee was the fact that here we are debating and deliberating on issues on a day-to-day basis, unknown as to what will take place in the future. We live in a world that we're forced, by whatever means, in an open space, to deal with the advent changes in technology. Just to conduct our own business, or maybe to keep pace of technology that is driven globally. In the workplace, it is fast-paced. Workers have had to treat with the advent of technology. And you know, it is a pressure that is being borne. And those of us who use the WhatsApp messages quite often, you are even pressured by those who, when they send you a message and the 2 tick comes in or the blue tick, you are being pressured. We have seen situations where the advent of technology has pressured us so much.
Well, we just see Juliet Wellness pressure Malibu Fort other day upon the vote, innit? When the woman saying, nah, Juliet Wellness said she never hear. And pressure her to do it again. And then she have to say yes. Because that is bullyism, badness. So you see, them people that come and talk, them rascal, fuckery, you know, and sometimes them do this similar thing just not too long ago and come at it. So I can't understand these people. Them no rascal fit to come make no law and talk no law to nobody. Because peer rascal too mouth in them talk, to be truthful. Juliet, well, let's just do it. That a real bullyism, not cyber bully. Because that a real in a real time. Malibu vote. The woman said, nah. And everybody hear it clearly. And Juliet Wellness use her rascal you know, I don't know what you call it, type of brains that she have. Because them study them things there. And come back and trick the woman. Well, I know them trick her and pressure her. But as she never stand up. And believe you me, Malibu Fort away one name. As a farmer, judge, and lawyer, you can't be trusted again. You just come around. Your reputation sink right there, so. Because the whole world here said, even, yeah man, the whole world here say, well then, nah, you vote no. Nah, everybody hear it. And then you come back and change. And then when I try to defend it now, say the matter is not about it's a clarification. So somebody can change their mind or whatever. It's how the GLP rascal deal with politics and go like them slick and appear fuckery. And then sometimes the PMP, they allow them to get away with it. Which is was the other way around. GLP would never have none of it. They know they're on top of them blood clot voice. Yeah, man.
That someone somewhere in a different time zone, when you might be hibernating, expect you to respond because they have sent you either email or a piece of communication. Because it's, well, the sun is shining where they are. But that's the advent of technology, and that's.
But at the same thing, GLP used 2016, come right back till the last election. And that's when they do. When I have a group and a blood like WhatsApp. But then people not easy though, you know. And that's how the rascal get support. So because when I right, I don't know a rascal. Sometimes, I don't know. Go on
the
listen
force that would have taken place. And that's the issue that we have to keep up with real time in terms of protecting against cybercrime. Mr. President, it's an important debate. But the value to take away from it is strengthening compensation mechanisms lies in recognizing that there are some devastating impacts that would have been created on individuals and businesses by virtue of cybercrimes. You know, we deal with the question of stolen identity, online harassment over persons whose financial security has been taken away, their emotional well-being, Mr. President, that sense of safety in the digital space has been undermined. So there was a time when you were worried about your physical harm. Now you're worried about your digital harming. You operating in that digital space. So cybercrime today, it takes many forms. And our citizens are exposed increasingly to a wide range of threats. Identity theft, your personal data has gone into domains that you don't even know.
That. You know,
when Senator Small Ferguson spoke about the transmitting of information, Senator Lambert Brown, you could be here, but then you could be seen in an image in Finland with a different background. That's the advent of technology. You could even look a different way. They could make you look slimmer. Now, each of these offenses, Mr. President, carries damage to reputation, disrupts livelihood, and it causes lethal trauma on the emotion. And in light of the realities, President, the proposed legislation today is seeking to deal with not only compensation, but attacking the perpetrators and bringing the entire system and the justice into being. President, in aligning the Cybercrimes Act, the deliberations of the Joint Select Committee revealed a cyber landscape that was rapidly evolving at the time and continues to evolve. But we were advised at the time, and I just want to use some data. The Jamaica Cyber Incident Response Team in 2020 alone, 136 cyber incidents were reported, with the top 3 categories being abusive content, impersonation, and revenge porn. Notably, sir, over 70% of these matters were referred to the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Investigation Branch, and they were deemed prosecutable. However, a significant concern emerged. Many of these cases were not followed through to prosecution, highlighting a gap between reporting, investigation, and the judicial outcomes. President, the data provided by the DPP further underscores the challenge that it said between 2017 and 2020, the parish court saw fluctuating but persistent case loads. In 2017, there were 65 active cases, 6 inactive, 26 disposed. In 2018, 61 active cases, 2 inactive, and 12 disposed. And across 2019 and 2020, 83 new cases were filed, 103 disposed, and 107 remained pending. For whatever those reasons are, they remain pending. The committee also examined a real-world cyber fraud incident involving phishing campaign at financial institutions. And from time to time, you would have seen on your own emails or whether your smartphone, some prompt comes up that is seeking to ascertain some information from you. I remember one specifically that continued to haunt. You know, Cable and Wireless had disbanded the Cable and Wireless Jamaica domain for your emails. And so you would have gotten these spams suggesting, here we are, we take note of the fact that you no longer, as of a particular date, is going to be using this domain. Complete this format to support the transitioning. But, you know, one of the things I normally do, I watch where this is coming from. And you would have seen where it's coming from, an email address that is assigned to a particular person has nothing to do with cable and wireless. But the prompt came every month leading up to when cable and wireless would have removed the domain. And this is how persistent these persons are. They are very aggressive, and they need to be brought to justice. If we too must attack them. And President, one of the concerns, that I particularly had raised
and lock up and throw the fucking key,
is the matter in relation to you as a customer in a bank, and if you were exposed through that financial institution to any challenges, any deception, and if it was reported anywhere else to the authority. And what we found is that the financial institutions, they don't want to report them to the authority. They prefer to deal with it in the background. And the committee made us recommendation that, there must be some, even through anonymity, the aggregate number of these cyber fraudulent cases must be reported to some domain to track it, even if you report it to the Financial Services Commission or the central bank. But it must be reported. Then there's the growing issue, Mr. President, of that a lot of debate surrounded the growing issue of malicious communication online. And while the right to free expression must always be preserved, the committee was very clear that there must be a firm boundary where speech or the transmitting of images that becomes harmful and it threatens the individual's reputation and livelihood and safety, that it must be addressed. And it's coming out today in the recommendation in the legislation. Mr. President, the committee's findings highlighted three critical realities. Cyber incidents were increasing in frequency. The attackers have become more and more sophisticated. So what you're accustomed to today changes tomorrow. And there's a gap between the reported cases and successful prosecution. President, these insights reinforces the urgency of legislative reform and what I consider institutional coordination. Because it can't be that just the reform is just pursuing, catching, and treating with it. But there has to be a coordination, a level of coordination that deals with information and educating the public. The public is going to require some level of technological or digital awareness. So this is not only about prosecuting, but this also must be around the protection of the society. There's in my mind, an unavoidable conclusion. Because today we're dealing with cybercrime. But tomorrow, we really have to deal with cybersecurity. And there ought to be the intention of legislation that deals with cybersecurity. That harmful attack of the digital space, creating that level of protection and security. It has to be a central national priority. And I want to take the opportunity to recommend that there has to be some level of coordination and cohesion in promoting cybersecurity. There was a youngster that came to me the other day and he said he wanted to pursue a degree in cybersecurity. And he asked, well, I thought about it and I said, well, it's a space that it's one of those growing levels of employment trends. Months after I saw him and I asked him, where are you with the application? And he said to me, he reconsidered. Because whilst it might be a gap in an emerging trend in a job, his concern was that if he was a cybersecurity expert and he was to have failed in the cybersecurity exposure to the business, would they still have confidence in him? And so he's pursuing some other area in technology. That's an obstacle we have to go around, and that's why we need to start having the conversation around cybersecurity to impress upon the confidence in need in as a country and as a society to manage our cybersecurity. So, Mr. President, we have the legislation today, but the important thing is that we need to test it and test it fast. Test it and test it quickly. And, there also, and I agree that this is one of the kinds of legislation that must have the quickest turnaround time in review. We cannot wait. We cannot have that normal period of review because similar to any other legislation. Because those who are attacking us, they are planning as we speak. They have gone to new levels of attack and harassment. We need to keep pace. And one of the things that we have to do as a point of priority is that we have to put in place a kind of risk assessment system of evaluation.
People tell the truth, don't do the fuckery. You talk about attacking. When I'm going to cry, baby, now.
Of amendments that is going to be proposed in the legislation.
What the fuck?
So we have to find a way to track it. And so, President, the work of the Joint Select Committee has provided us with both evidence and direction. It is now our responsibility to act decisively by advancing these legislations, embracing a futuristic, comprehensive approach to cybersecurity, and affirm our commitment to protecting our citizens in safeguarding also institutions and upholding justice.
Safeguard already there, in a Jamaican law, So all of them are trying to do. And that's why I say PNP should never support this fucking shit, Yeah. And this is the thing, because they don't realize what's going on, because, more blog attack of a PNP. So if this bill come through now, they're going to use it to shut down these. And the PNP, I don't understand, Them jumping every blood clot thing. But no can go on.
This digital age. So, sir, I commend the amendment to the legislation, and I urge my other colleagues to support its intention for a stronger, safer, and a more secure digital Jamaica.
Fuck that matter. No go so. They just want it, but PNP has support everything.
Thank you, Senator Gale. Senator Bernard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to contribute to the debate on the Cybercrimes Amendment Act 2026. And let me say from the outset, the opposition supports the need to modernize Jamaica's cyber laws. We support stronger protection for children. We support sanctions against online fraud, identity theft, deepfakes, digital extortion, and the non-consensual sharing of intimate images. Mr. President, no Jamaican should be left defenseless in the digital space. But this debate cannot be separated from a deeper national conversation that is taking place. The government comes to the parliament asking for more digital tools, stronger investigative powers, wider offences, tougher penalties, and clearer procedures on search and seize. Yet, Mr. President, the same government refuses to insist on one of the most basic digital accountability tools in modern policing. That is body-worn cameras. This is a contradiction, Mr. President.
Of course.
The government wants cameras, codes, records, search, seizures, digital keys, and electronic evidence when it is pursuing the citizen. But when the citizen asks for cameras to protect life, liberty, and truth during police operations, we are told that's a crazy idea.
Good point, good point. Lick them for blood clot 6 right there, so. Yeah, man. Them get licked for 6 right there, so. You saw blood clot jelly back them is until like that. And this is when put it so ras clot distant, you know, and flowing, you know. Yeah. Yo.
When, Mr. President, the minister who piloted the amendments in the lower house says Clause 9 requires the Commissioner of Police to develop a code of standard procedures for search and seizure under the Cybercrimes Act, because digital evidence must be handled with effectiveness and integrity. Yet, when the evidence concerns fatal police shooting, the same principle of integrity is treated as optional. Mr. President, this contradiction borders on hypocrisy. Indicom reported that 115 persons have been shot and killed by the security force year to date. That already exceeded the comparable figure in 2025, which is 87. Indicom also recently expressed concerns about public statements dismissing body-worn cameras. In this climate, the refusal to require body cameras in planned high-risk operation does not build confidence, it deepens suspicion. The government cannot say Jamaica needs a trusted digital society while resisting the very technologies that would help citizens trust the state.
One thing sometimes I say, you know, more often know if the blood clot PMP them really unite, you know, because less of them in the blood clot Senate there, so. And them not sitting on them not at the bench. If it was the blood clot other side, just listen how the blood clot bench beat. So the PMP is fucking wanted for something, I don't know. Them lack of something, brother. From, yeah, I tell you that, you know. Because it's very attack the facts, you know. And them supposed to support it about the camera them with the police. And instead of them beat the bench, some of them blood clot, they just said, yeah, but the blood clot, this PMP are really something else, you know. They're supposed to lick the blood clot bench on top of the bomber clot mountain. Because the man they put a good point. What am I do? I don't understand this. Papa Jesus. Now, sir.
Mr. President, the minister responsible for national security says cameras make police targets. But that cannot be the end of the discussion. The question is not whether every officer must wear a
Look
camera.
here, nobody has objected to it, but, and I know that you are adroitly,
Where's blood? This
Senator
is them
Brown,
bomb
leave me
let the
alone,
man
listen,
speak.
please. I noticed that
Push
you're
him, let the man
adroitly sort
speak.
of moving
When
the
he fucking
discussion
burn
in
them, them
relation
always
to
come out with this
the
bomb
wider
clad.
issue of cyber security. But you can keep that debate for another time.
No,
about
man,
body-worn cameras.
you
I'm
have
not
to
going to
shut
allow
your
you to
fucking
make
mouth.
a debate on this about body-worn camera. So you have made your point. You can move
You
on.
can't tell a man what to, that you don't want a blood clot. Make you,
Mr. President,
what the fuck is the brother I say?
the presentation goes into offering some opportunities going forward, Mr. President. The government says cybercrime is dangerous because harm now travels through digital platform. Mr. President, if the law criminalized the non-consensual publication of an intimate image because dignity matters, then surely the law can require recording the state encounters where life may be taken because life matters even more. If the law can impose up to 20 years for cybercrime offense against children, then surely the state must answer when minors are among those killed in police operations. If the law can punish property owners who knowingly permit premises to be used for cybercrimes, then surely public officials must be accountable when systems knowingly permit lethal operations without adequate transparency. This is the central issue, Mr. President. Accountability cannot be selective. We therefore propose, Mr. President, that this Senate use the passing of this bill to call for a broader digital accountability framework, including a statutory body-worn camera policy for the JCF
Although I
and the
tell you,
state
although I warn you about it, you're still proceeding. You're talking about this piece of legislation here, and you're calling the Senate to call up for body-worn camera. Come on, Mr. Bernard, man.
But they can respond. We don't need to respond. Right. They have more than 13 of them.
No, I'm dealing. Is it? Look here. I'm just concerned with it. With this. With it. Senator Brown. Anytime I want your guidance, I will ask you for it. Give me the standing order. The standing orders require you to be relevant, So just. You recognize the activists in the president, Mr. Professor Morris? Senator Brown, your presentation is very good, but you're running off of the rail to a certain extent. Just stick to the topic of the bill, man.
Mr. President, I will move to conclude. I will move to conclude, Mr. President. So today, as we strengthen the Cybercrimes Act, we say to the government, So, Mr. President, as we strengthen the Cybercrimes Act, we say to the government, in addition to coming to the Parliament and preaching digital trust, we also encourage that we do not ignore the impunity that is being handed down. We do not demand transparency for citizens while shielding the coercive power of the state from transparency. We do not criminalize digital harm while ignoring the evidential darkness surrounding fatal police encounter. Mr. President, the opposition supports the cyber bill, but we insist that national security must be constitutional security, public safety must be rights-based safety, and digital accountability must apply not only to govern, but also to those who are doing the governing, the police, their searches, their seizures, their arrests, and too often times in Jamaica, the extrajudicial killing. Mr. President, if it may please you.
Thank you, Senator Bernard. Man needs some guidance. Man needs some guidance instead of him getting encouraged. Senator Thompson. Senator Dr. Thompson. Senator Dr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Thompson, I recognize you twice before you started, actually. You know.
Thank you again, Mr. President. So, I just want to say, Mr. President, we've had a very interesting week this week. And for me, it was a very interesting week. And yesterday, I think most of us would have seen a video, a very disturbing video that has gone viral and would have disappointed everybody with the culmination of losing 2 lives. And it was a very disturbing video, and really we have to reflect on the times that we're in, Mr. President, and we have a lot of reflecting to do as a country, I would say. So let me start like this.
Just to be clear, what is the video that you are referring to? Is it an incident from Central Kingston?
Correct. The incident with the stabbing.
Because there was more than one disturbing video last week.
That will come. So let me say, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. Mr. President, I rise in support of the Cybercrimes Amendment Act 2026, not as a technologist, not as a cybersecurity specialist, and certainly not as someone who would pretend that this is my ordinary field of expertise. I rise as a medical practitioner, and from that standpoint, I say at the outset that this bill is not merely about computers, codes, devices, data, or platforms. It is about injury, vulnerability, consent, dignity, protection, and trust. In medicine, we are trained to understand that a threat to the body is not always visible at first. It may enter quietly. It may exploit a weakness. It may spread rapidly. It may mutate. It may attack the most vulnerable first. And if it is not detected, contained, and treated, it can compromise the health of the whole body. Cybercrime behaves in much the same way. It enters through weak passwords, stolen credentials, manipulated trust, false identities, compromised devices, and vulnerable systems. It spreads quickly, it mutates with technology, it hides behind anonymity, it crosses borders without a passport, and very often it injures the person long before the family, the school, the bank, the employer, or the state fully understands the extent of the damage. That is why I see this bill as part of the national immune system we must rebuild around Jamaica's digital life. Mr. President, Jamaica is not debating this bill in theory. We are debating it in a country where banking is digital, business is digital, education is digital, communication is digital, and public services are increasingly digital.
Our children learn, play, and socialize online. Our citizens bank, shop, apply, register, communicate, and store information online. Our institutions hold sensitive records online. Our economy is becoming more dependent on digital confidence. The minister, in introducing this bill in the other place, was correct to observe that Jamaica's daily life is now unavoidably digital, and that the harms we face are amplified by social media virality, remote anonymity, cross-border criminal networks, and now artificial intelligence. So the question is not whether Jamaica will become more digital. That is already happening. The real question is whether Jamaica will become digitally safe, digitally mature, and digitally trusted. A nation cannot digitize faster than its people can trust. Digital transformation without digital protection is not progress. It is exposure. Mr. President, one of the errors we sometimes make is to think of cybercrime as harm that remains inside a phone or a computer. But the device is only the medium. The victim is human. A child whose image is circulated without consent does not suffer a virtual wound. A woman whose intimate image is shared for revenge does not suffer virtual humiliation. A young man whose identity is stolen does not suffer a virtual violation. A pensioner whose savings are stolen through online deception does not suffer a virtual loss. A small business whose account is compromised does not face a virtual crisis. These are real injuries suffered by real people. The health evidence should make us pause. The World Health Organization states that globally, 1 in 7 persons aged 10 to 19 experiences a mental disorder, and that depression, anxiety, and behavioral disorders are among the leading causes of illness among adolescents. The World Health Organization also identifies suicide as the 3rd leading cause of death among persons aged 15 to 29. Here in Jamaica, the Ministry of Health and Wellness and UNICEF have treated young mental health as an urgent concern. In 2019, they reported that 42% of attempted suicides treated at hospital were children, and that a U-Report poll indicated that 53% of U-Reporters had considered suicide. UNICEF Jamaica has also reported that 1 in every 4 Jamaican students has considered suicide, and that is up to 60% of those treated at hospitals for attempted suicides are adolescents and young people under 24. Those figures are sobering. They remind us that a cruel post, a threat, a fabricated image, a leaked photograph, a scam, or a campaign of online humiliation may land on a young person who is already anxious, already struggling, already isolated, already silent. International data also confirms the seriousness of this issue. The World Health Organization Europe reported in 2024 that 15% of adolescents, approximately 1 in 6, had experienced cyberbullying. UNICEF has also reported from polls across 30 countries that 1 in 3 young people said that they had been victims of online bullying, and 1 in 5 reported skipping school because of cyberbullying and violence. These are not all Jamaican prevalence figures, and I do present them as such, but they confirm a wider truth that Jamaica must take seriously. Online harm does not stay online. It follows a child into the classroom, into the home, into sleep, into self-esteem, into concentration, into friendships, into performance, and into mental health. From experience, I know that the body and mind do not draw neat lines between harm that begins physically and harm that begins digitally. Stress affects the body, fear affects sleep, humiliation affects mental well-being, anxiety affects concentration, financial distress affects family stability, shame can silence a child, fraud can break a household, exposure can damage a reputation. A person wounded online may carry the injury into every part of daily life. That is the human reality behind this bill. Mr. President, it is against that reality that I strongly support the provisions that strengthen protection for children. This bill amends key penalty provisions so that where certain offences are committed against an individual under the age of 18 years, the penalty may include imprisonment for a term not exceeding 20 years. That is not a casual amendment. It is a serious statement of national priority. It says that where children are targeted, groomed, manipulated, exposed, or exploited in the digital space, the law must respond seriously. For adults, cybercrime can be devastating. For children, it can be defining. A child may not yet have the maturity, resilience, or perspective to understand permanence, manipulation, coercion, consent, or digital consequence. A child may not understand that one image can be copied, forwarded, stored, edited, monetized, manipulated, and resurfaced years later. A child may not understand that the person on the other side of the screen may not be the person they claim to be. The law must therefore provide a shield where childhood cannot yet provide armor. Mr. President, that brings me to one of the most important parts of this bill, the amendment concerning intimate images. Clause 5 amends Section 9 of the Principal Act by replacing the narrower phrase, sent to another person, with the broader word publish, as stated before. It creates an offense where a person publishes an intimate image of an individual without that individual's consent or reckless as to whether the individual consents. The bill defines publish to include sending, transferring, posting, disseminating, or otherwise providing access to the image or data. That change is practical. It reflects how harm now travels. The harm today is not confined to one message between two phones. It moves through group chats, as mentioned before, screenshots, reposts, forwards, cloud storage, fake accounts, anonymous pages, social media platforms, and websites. One act can become 100 acts in minutes. One violation can become a public spectacle. One intimate image can be used for revenge, extortion, blackmail, intimidation, control, or entertainment. The bill also defines an intimate image as an image depicting sexual activity, nudity, or partial nudity, captured, generated, or created by photography, film, video, or other means. Those words matter. We're no longer dealing only with what a camera records. We are dealing with what technology can generate, manipulate, and weaponize. We are dealing with artificial intelligence, synthetic images, deepfakes, altered videos, and digital tools that can place a person into an image or circumstance that never existed. The minister, in closing the debate in the other place, made the important point that the Cybercrimes Act is technology neutral and that the absence of a specific reference to artificial intelligence is not fatal where the required elements of the offense are otherwise present. That is the right approach. The law must be clear enough to prosecute, but flexible enough to become obsolete every time technology changes its name. Mr. President, as a physician, I also wish to speak plainly about consent. In medicine, especially as a surgeon, consent is not a courtesy. It is not an afterthought. It is foundational. A patient's body image, intimate condition, or personal information is not public property. Dignity follows the patient into the consulting room, into the operating theater, into the medical record, and into every professional encounter. That same dignity must follow the citizen into the digital space. Consent does not expire because an image enters a phone. Dignity does not disappear because the violation occurs through a screen. Privacy does not become less worthy of protection because the harm is transmitted by data rather than by physical contact. The bill is therefore right to provide that a person under the age of 18 years is incapable of giving consent for the purposes of the new intimate image offense. That is not only a legal safeguard, it is a moral safeguard. It recognizes that children may be pressured, groomed, manipulated, coerced, or deceived, and that the law must not leave them to carry adult consequences for circumstances they may not fully understand. The bill also includes defenses for legitimate circumstances, including publication for the purpose of detecting, investigating, or preventing crime for legal proceedings, for bona fide educational, scientific, medical, or research purposes, as previously mentioned, and for reporting on current events where reasonable care is taken to omit explicit depictions. That balance is important. We must criminalize abuse without criminalizing legitimate investigation, legal process, medical work, research, education, or responsible reporting. But the principle must remain clear. Intimate images are not tools for revenge, ridicule, extortion, entertainment, or control. Mr. President, if online harm affects children, families, and victims of fraud, it also affects the quality of our public life. Cyber harm has entered our political and civic space. I know from first-hand experiences that public life has always attracted criticism, and criticism is a part of democracy. No one in public life should expect immunity from scrutiny. The Prime Minister receives it, ministers receive it, opposition members receive it, public servants receive it, private citizens who take strong positions on national matters receive it. I too have received it, with persons on social media calling me spineless, a sellout, or a traitor, simply because I've taken a position and added my voice on matters of national interest. Let me be clear. This bill is not about protecting politicians from criticism. It must never be that. Citizens must be free to criticize their leaders, challenge policy, expose wrongdoing, and demand better. But there's a difference between scrutiny and abuse. There is a difference between disagreement and dehumanization. There's a difference between robust debate and coordinated digital harassment. We have seen this even in our own parliamentary life. Following the recent disruption in the chamber, Mr. President, during the debate on NARA, the Speaker became the subject of intense public criticism. Again, the Speaker, like every public official, is not above criticism. The public has the right to question rulings, to examine conduct in the chamber, and to hold those who preside over Parliament to a high standard. But what we have also seen online goes far beyond fair comment, Mr. President. We have seen commentary descend into ridicule, bullying, personal attacks, edited visuals, distorted representations, and content that seeks to reimagine, mock, and dehumanize her. That is not democratic accountability. That is digital mobbing. Mr. President, that is cyberbullying dressed up as political commentary. And this is the point I wish to make. If a lady holding one of the highest offices in our parliament can be reduced online to memes, insults, caricatures, and abuse because of how she presided over a difficult sitting, then we must be honest about the culture we are building. Today, it is the Speaker. Yesterday, it may have been the Prime Minister. Today, it may be a minister, an opposition member, a public servant, a journalist, a student, or any Jamaican who dares to take a position on a matter of national importance. We must not confuse the right to criticize with the right to humiliate. We must not confuse free expression with digital cruelty. We must not confuse political disagreement with a license to strip another human being of dignity. The chamber is now a digital space, as much as it is a physical one. What happens here is clipped, captioned, edited, exaggerated, and circulated before the sitting is even over. Right, Senator Tomlinson? That reality should sober us all. It places a responsibility on members to conduct ourselves with discipline, and it places a responsibility on citizens, commentators, and political actors not to turn every parliamentary moment into a weapon of abuse. As we anticipate further debate on matters of national importance, such as that bill, I urge all of us inside and outside Parliament to be firm but fair, passionate but responsible, critical but truthful. Let us disagree without destroying. Let us scrutinize without dehumanizing. Let us use the digital space to deepen democracy, not to poison it. Mr. President, just as cyber harm has widened, cybercrime itself has become more organized. It is not always one person acting alone. It may involve organized networks, digital tools, stolen credentials, devices, malware, phishing kits, compromised premises, and persons who facilitate the crime without necessarily being the person who directly contacts the victim. That is why the amendment in Section 10 is important. The bill criminalizes without lawful justification the intentional manufacture, sale, importation, distribution, disclosure, or making available of a computer any key or any other data or device designed or adapted primarily for committing offenses under Sections 3 to 9. It also addresses receiving or possessing such items with intent that they be used for cyber offenses. That is the law going after the supply chain. In medicine, we do not only treat the symptom, we identify the source. We interrupt transmission, we reduce exposure, we prevent recurrence. This bill does something similar. It does not only punish the person who finally presses send or executes the fraud, it targets the tools, data, keys, and devices that make cybercrime easier, faster, and more profitable. That matters in Jamaica. The Jamaica Constabulary Force has reported that in 2022, there were 320 cases of e-fraud, with financial impact of over 120 million and more than 19 million US dollars. In 2023, the number of reports increased to 355, with losses of over 169 million and more than 219,000 US dollars. MOCA has also warned that Jamaica loses billions of dollars annually to cybercrime. Behind those figures are families who may have lost rent money, school fees, medication money, remittances, business capital, or retirement savings. Behind those figures are small businesses that may have lost payroll, supplier confidence, or customer trust. Behind those figures are older persons who may now fear online banking or feel ashamed that they were deceived. The bill also amends Section 11 by inserting revenue and by replacing the narrower word medical with the broader word health. I particularly welcome the shift from medical to health. Health is bigger than a hospital. It includes public health systems, health records, laboratories, pharmacies, emergency response, surveillance, scheduling, referrals, insurance systems, and the infrastructure that allows care to be delivered. An attack on health infrastructure is not merely an IT inconvenience. It can delay care, expose confidential information, disrupt treatment, undermine public confidence, and in serious cases, places lives at risk. Similarly, the inclusion of revenue recognizes that attacks on financial and revenue systems are not minor disruptions. They can affect the functioning of the state, the delivery of services, business confidence, and citizens' trust in digital transactions. The bill also recognizes that cybercrime may be digital, but it often has a physical footprint. It repeals and replaces Section 15 to create an offense where an owner, occupier, or other person responsible for the management of premises knowingly causes or knowingly permits the premises to be used for any purpose that constitutes an offense under the Act. On conviction, the penalty may include a fine of imprisonment for a term not exceeding 15 years. Mr. President, I wish to say a word about the time it sometimes takes for the legislation of this nature to move from review to amendment. There is a tendency in public commentary to assume that if a matter takes time, then someone must deliberately delay it. must be deliberately delaying it. I do not accept that as a fair assumption in every case. I do not accept that as a fair assumption in every case. Listen, Joint Select Committees do not perform cosmetic work. They receive submissions, they hear stakeholders, they test policy proposals, they consider rights, enforcement powers, institutional capacity, prosecutorial practicality, and unintended consequences. In an area such as cybercrime, where technology changes quickly and the law must interact with privacy, free expression, criminal procedure, data protection, child protection, and international cooperation, careful deliberation is not a luxury. It is a necessity. The bill's Memorandum of Objects and Reasons records that the Joint Select Committee was established under Section 25 of the Cybercrimes Act to review the Act, and that it reported to the Houses of Parliament in May 2023. The bill is intended to give effect to the decision to amend the Act flowing from the recommendations of that committee. But after a Joint Select Committee reports, the work does not end. The responsible ministry and its technical team must review the recommendations. Policy choices must be made. Drafting instructions must be prepared. The Chief Parliamentary Council must translate policy into workable law. Enforcement agencies must consider implementation. Cabinet processes must be satisfied. The bill must be settled for tabling. So yes, we must move faster where we can. Technology will not wait on Parliament. But we must also be careful not to mistake responsible legislative work for unwillingness to act. It is certainly not a case of the government trying to stall its own progress. It is the reality that serious lawmaking takes time, particularly when the law must be strong enough to protect victims, clear enough to guide citizens, precise enough to support prosecutors, practical enough for investigations, and fair enough to withstand constitutional scrutiny. A rush cyber law can create loopholes. A careless cyber law can violate rights. An imprecise cyber law can frustrate prosecutors. A poorly implemented cyber law can collapse in court. So urgency matters, but so does care.
Oh, for the blood clot scream, man. Tired of you for blood clot.
Mr. President, I'm careful not to overstate what this bill does. We're far from legislating for everything that technology can now do.
He's a fucking sergeant and you blood clot in politics. Why not go blood clot save some people?
The speed of artificial intelligence, deepfakes, online fraud, cyberbullying, data misuse, identity theft, synthetic media, and organized digital crime. Technology is moving faster than law. That is the truth.
Come on for the screen, man.
In another matter, elsewhere, and I'm waiting for the result of that. Yeah, money for the doctors. They're working at 2021 rate of pay when they do the overtime that is required of them. So I'm going to use, President, to speak in after doctors. Doctors who instruct me. And so in the Senate, I'm speaking now after the one doctor, one medical doctor that is here. And he said some nice things for which I agree. And so it forced me to go to the Bible to find the appropriate text. And I found, Floyd, Luke 4, verse 23. I believe it says, physician, heal thyself. That's what it says? Physician, heal thyself. Mr. President, I don't use Facebook because in 2012, when I became a senator, I'm looking at you, I don't know if you was involved. Some people created a Facebook saying it's my Facebook, using my name with a whole heap of dirty things. And I said to myself, you know something? You will never join the Facebook community. So they attempt to pretend it's Lambert Brown. Wouldn't be supported by my giving any dignity to Facebook. So I don't use Facebook. But today, May 1st, is a kind of unusual day for me in the Senate President. Because 3 members of the government side have spoken. And not a single one of them used the words, Dr. the Honorable Andrew Holness. It's a shocker for us over here. Because the cult of the personality is so deep that every time any of them speak, we expect to hear multiple mention of the Prime Minister's name. Sir? We haven't heard any. So I want to remind them of the necessity to use it. And maybe they can't because the Cybercrime Act of 2015 was passed when Mark Gordon was on that side. So we find it, yes, we find it very interesting that they are at one with the cybercrime bill.